power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart.
Finding the power of the
Finding the
heart.
power of the heart.
The power of
Power
the
of the power of the heart.
让我们寻回新的力量。The
Power
power
of
of
the
the heart.
heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chao. You are tuning to the Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Master Cheng Yen once said that beauty is in the oneness of people's hearts and in unconditional giving. In all of Tzu Chi schools, Tzu Chi mom and dad volunteer in the schools to provide additional help and support to students. They are Tzu Chi commissioners playing the role of loving fathers and mothers. These volunteer moms and dads use their wisdom to inspire students' love and compassion for the world. Students are treated as if they were these volunteers' own children. This tradition has been going on for more than 25 years. In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Master Cheng Yen's teaching on life economics about be a benefactor to others. This reading is provided by Mr. Colin Legerton. Then, after a short break, we'll discuss this teaching with Miss Charlotte Lin.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio.
Section 3. Be a benefactor to others. People who have the karmic affinity to know one another should be good friends and benefactors to each other. They should guide each other onto the right path. For example, if you are my good friend, when I do something wrong, you will promptly remind me and correct me. And when you make a mistake, I will also tell you earnestly. Each of us will gratefully and happily accept the other person's criticism. When everyone follows rules, then there will be no deception, fraud, or fighting in our society, and people will get along peacefully and harmoniously. In addition, we should devote ourselves to helping those in need. Everyone has the potential to love other people. As long as we can bring out the unlimited love in each of us, we are able to support and help one another. When we work in unity, I believe nothing is difficult in the world. Explore our unlimited potential. Many people use excuses such as health problems or inconvenience to avoid taking action. While they make excuses, time slips away and dreams are lost. Mr. Zhang suffers from poor eyesight, so he can only see a few centimeters in front of him, yet he was determined to become a Tzu Chi volunteer and put his caring heart into action. At one of Tzu Chi's activities, Mr. Zhang participated in a sign language song performance. It is easy for other people to learn sign language. They can watch the teacher's demonstration as they listen to the music. But it is very difficult for Mr. Zhang since he can hardly see. He became depressed sometimes because of his slow progress, but he was determined to overcome the challenge. After practicing over and over, he finally mastered the signs for the entire song. When he performed on stage, he matched the others' signing perfectly. No one could tell that he had weak eyesight, and that he accomplished this by hearing alone. Mr. Zhang takes on all the regular duties of Sicheng Faith Corps volunteers. Whatever the others do, he can also accomplish the task. When he weeds the garden, he bends over close to the ground to look carefully and make sure he does not mistakenly pull up planted grass. When he is on night duty, he asks other Tzu Chi volunteers to take him around the building complex to familiarize himself with the surroundings, such as the locations of light switches, outlets, windows, and doors. No job is too difficult for him. It is very touching to know how he goes about his work with a loving heart. This is what I mean when I say, see with our ears, be mindful of everything. Miss Liu lives in southern Taiwan. She is hard of hearing due to tinnitus. She has sought medical help for many years without any improvement. The problem plagued her for quite a while, but eventually she learned to live with it. She now regards the ringing in her ears as music. Miss Liu is a dedicated Tzu Chi media volunteer. Since she can see clearly, she takes photographs and writes articles to document Tzu Chi's historical moments. As a witness to history, the work she does with her pen, notebook, and camera is very significant. That is why I often say that everyone has innate ability and potential. However, if we only want to live an easy life and avoid hard work, our ability and potential will gradually go to waste. There was a 70-year-old veteran with cancer who had trouble going about his day-to-day life. A former colleague lived next door to him and would often go care for him. Once, when the area was flooded, the neighbor rushed over and found his bed was about to be covered by water. The neighbor immediately carried him on his back and climbed up to the attic. After the water had receded, Tzu Chi volunteers went to visit the old veteran. The neighbor who carried him up to the attic asked the Tzu Chi volunteers to help bring him down. The stairway to the attic was narrow and steep. It was not easy to carry him down, even with the help of several young volunteers. Under the watchful eye and careful guidance of more volunteers downstairs, they finally carried the ailing veteran down. "How did you take him up to the attic?" the volunteers asked. The neighbor replied, "I have no idea how I did it. Even looking at the steep stairway now makes my legs shake." The ailing veteran and his former colleague were about the same age. Actually, the ailing veteran was bigger and heavier than his neighbor. In an emergency, the neighbor was so focused on helping and carrying his friend to safety that he never considered his physical ability to do so. Is this not a demonstration of one's innate ability and potential? This incident shows that as long as we are willing to utilize it, our power to help others as well as ourselves is both real and inexhaustible. Confidence in doing good deeds. Love is a smooth, broad boulevard, but if we lack love, life's path is bumpy and difficult. Some think that it is hard to do good deeds and help others. Even though you want to help others, some people may say, "You are foolish not to spend the money on yourself." After a while, your loving heart and kind thoughts will start to waver because of external influence. You begin to ask yourself why you waste your hard-earned money to help others. In life, there are things we must do and things we must not do. We should actively do the things that must be done. When we take hold of the moment to make contributions, we will learn a great deal, and we will be happy and at ease. So when we are sure of the direction we have chosen, we should maintain our faith. We should have selfless faith in our family, our society, and our country. We must believe that no matter how tough the situation, it will change someday. Where there is a will, there is blessing and strength. Great love through teamwork can make a difference, but it requires everyone to take action. Action strengthens our faith. Otherwise, if we talk the talk without walking the walk, we will easily give up our beliefs when we face the temptation of material gains or when we encounter any difficulties. There is a primary school in San Francisco in which more than 90% of the students are from poor immigrant families. These students seriously lack food and supplies. Tzu Chi volunteers started caring for the students with book donations at first, then followed with frequent distributions of food and uniforms. Miss Huang often went with Tzu Chi volunteers to visit the school, and one day she brought her daughter along. A girl who was about the same age as her daughter approached them and asked, "Can you please adopt me? I have no food to eat." Miss Huang was shocked. On another occasion, Miss Huang witnessed a student stealing packets of ketchup, then saw her mix the ketchup with water to drink. She also saw a girl steal a handful of uncooked rice and put it into her mouth. She asked this girl why she did that, and the girl replied that she was hungry. These children were not stealing because they were bad. They were driven to it by starvation. Miss Huang felt that she should rearrange her life so that she could devote more time to Tzu Chi and take care of children in need. At that time, she was a senior executive at an international pharmaceutical company. When she presented her letter of resignation, her boss was stunned and tried to convince her to stay. "Which company is trying to hire you? What salary are they offering? We'll give you a raise." "None of these," she answered. "My salary is high enough here. I am grateful and satisfied. I just wish to devote myself fully to Tzu Chi." "What is Tzu Chi?" her boss asked. Miss Huang then told him about Tzu Chi's relief efforts and described the poor living conditions of those who suffer. Her boss still could not understand. He wondered whether doing good deeds really makes a person happy, and whether it is more valuable than having a high-paying job. Nonetheless, Miss Wang had already made up her mind to resign and become a full-time Tzu Chi volunteer. Since then, she has gone to the school every day with another Tzu Chi volunteer to help provide a better learning environment for the students. Tzu Chi volunteers pass out food backpacks for the students every Friday so that they will have food to eat at home over the weekend. At school, they teach the students Tzu Chi's humanistic culture and help them with their schoolwork. They not only help the students improve their grades, they also emphasize character education by teaching the students to follow rules and regulations, have good manners, cherish the earth, and recycle. That particular elementary school has now become a very good school in its district. It is commendable that Miss Wang gave up her personal profits and comforts to devote herself joyfully. Life is short and impermanent. When we see suffering in the world, we should bring forth our love and take action to help the needy. When everyone's strength is combined, we can truly improve our environment. This is the ecology of love. Rich at heart. In this world, very few people would consider their lives perfect and free from remorse. Even those with enormous riches and everything going their way cannot avoid regrets connected with birth, aging, illness, and death. Actually, it is better to be rich at heart than to be rich with money. No matter what we face along life's natural course, we must be content and grateful. A life with long-lasting affection and great love in our hearts is the happiest life. If we constantly worry about losses and gains, then even if we have great wealth, we are poor at heart and live in affliction. During global financial crises, the stock market fluctuates up and down. This makes many people worry and suffer. On the other hand, if people go about their business according to their true capabilities, live simple and frugal lives, and help others when they can, they will be content and truly rich. Mrs. Tsai has a daughter who gave birth to a boy and a girl. Her daughter's family should have been happy. Unfortunately, her son-in-law was irresponsible and did not take care of the family. Furthermore, Mrs. Tsai's granddaughter was born with severe epilepsy caused by a shortage of oxygen in her brain at birth. Dealt with these blows, Mrs. Tsai's daughter fell into a depression. Mrs. Tsai could not bear to see her daughter suffer, so she took her daughter and her grandchildren home to take care of them. We can only imagine what a heavy burden she had to shoulder. Mrs. Tsai's case was referred to Tzu Chi by a social worker at Kaohsiung Hospital. After receiving Tzu Chi's care and assistance, Mrs. Tsai's daughter recovered from her depression and started to work as a health aide. Her income has greatly reduced Mrs. Tsai's financial burden. Though he is still a student, Mrs. Tsai's grandson also works to supplement the family income. They all work very hard to make a living. In order to allow her daughter to concentrate on her work, Mrs. Tsai has taken full responsibility to care for her epileptic granddaughter, who is now 17 years old. When her granddaughter was small, Mrs. Tsai was able to hold her or carry her on her back, but it is increasingly hard for Mrs. Tsai to do that now. The doctor has said that as the granddaughter gets older, her weight will keep increasing and her organs will gradually deteriorate. Her disability will become worse. Mrs. Tsai has never given up caring for her granddaughter, even though it is getting more and more difficult. She says, "Since she had the affinity to be born into our family, we should take good care of her." Not only does Mrs. Tsai understand the karmic law of cause and effect, she can accept adverse fate gracefully. She really possesses a big heart and a pure mind. In addition to taking care of her granddaughter, Mrs. Tsai uses her time for recycling work. After selling the recyclables, she lets her granddaughter put a few coins into the bamboo piggy bank herself, so that she can also help others. Although they do not have much, Mrs. Tsai is able to supplement the family income through her labors and save a little at a time to help others. As long as we are healthy in both body and mind, we can be rich even if we have no money. Mrs. Tsai is old and her back is hunched, yet she is not scared of hardship. As long as she can still work, she does whatever is needed. From helping herself and receiving help to helping others, she lives such a spiritually rich life. A person is certainly blessed when he or she can face adversity with an understanding heart. How much do we need for our daily living? There is no standard measure. As long as we have love in our hearts and live simply and frugally, we have the ability to help others. In Ilan, there is an old couple in their 80s. They depend on each other since the husband cannot hear well and the wife cannot see clearly. Their child was born with autism. They cared for him until he died just past the age of 40, after taking some over-the-counter medicine for a common cold. Tzu Chi volunteers have cared for the old couple for more than 10 years by helping with house cleaning. Whenever the old couple needs assistance, the volunteers respond quickly. They treat the old couple as their own parents. The couple is kind and friendly. Although their life has been hard, they are able to live happily with love and care from Tzu Chi volunteers. One day, a Tzu Chi volunteer came to visit them. The old woman said to her, "You seem to be very busy." "Yes, I am on my way to collect donation money," answered the volunteer. "What is donation money?" the old woman asked. The volunteer explained that the money Tzu Chi uses for charity is collected from kind donors, a little here and a little there. The old woman realized that her financial aid came from the efforts of many people who collected donations from people a few dollars at a time. She told the volunteer to stop her financial aid. She said, "Our cost of living is less than $40 a month, and we receive senior citizen subsidies from the government each year, so Tzu Chi does not need to give us aid anymore." She also pledged to donate $15 a month. Worried about their livelihood, the volunteer suggested that she donate only $3 each month. The old woman insisted on donating $15. She said, "You come to see us often. If something should happen, why should we worry about not having money?" She is indeed wise and compassionate. No matter how much money you have, when you are too sick to move, it is useless to be staring at your money. That is why the old couple decided to start helping others while they still could. Later, they installed the Dai television channel because the wife wanted to listen to Dharma teachings. Due to her poor eyesight, she sits very close to the television. The husband cannot hear well, but he is in good health. He often goes out to pick up bottles and cans, while his wife sorts recyclables at home. Doing recycling work together, they lead a peaceful and worry-free life. I sincerely wish everyone in this world can be a bodhisattva, and the earth can be a pure land of bodhisattvas. Then no one will suffer anymore. Some may think that it is not easy for these wishes to come true. Actually, if we bring forth our love and influence others to work together and extend a helping hand toward those who suffer, everyone can be a benefactor to others.
Hello everyone, my name is Charlotte Lin. I'm from Taiwan, Taipei. My favorite Jin's aphorism is all affinity are good affinities. I get this phrase from a Dharma master when I was attending a summer camp in Hualien. And I always remember this. This phrase has helped me a lot throughout the time. And especially when I was early 20s, my parents' company was experienced a major failure, so they had to close their company. At that time, we been through a lot of difficulties, and we even been chased by the loan sharks, the gang members. So at that time, I was full of hatred, and I was very angry why these things happened to me, to my family. But one day, I just recall this phrase, this aphorism, all affinity is good affinity. So I start to think, all affinity is good affinity. Why these things happen to me, to my family, is good affinity? So I changed my attitude and think from the other direction. These things, this failure, these bad things happened when I was young, when I still have ability to change my life, to help my parents. And so it's good things rather than happen when I was 50, 60, or when I was older. At that time, I may not have this energy to regain myself. So really, all affinity are good affinities. May wisdom and inspiration be with you always.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart on Da'ai Radio.
Our special guest today is Ms. Charlotte Lin. She was a youth volunteer with Tzu Chi when she attended Oxford Brookes University in England. She attended high school in the U.S. and went back to Hualien 1 year, attended a Tzu Chi summer camp there, because she was in Taiwan for a visit that year. She finds Dharma profound and interesting because melody in Dharma services sounds so elegant and soothing. Welcome to the program, Charlotte. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Growing up in the U.S., how do you find Hualien?
Very hot. A lot of mosquitoes. First impression, yes.
Because some of our students, very often their first impression of Hualien, they say it's beautiful scenery, but so boring because it's in a very remote, kind of less developed area in Taiwan. But after they spend some time in Hualien, they find that spiritual scenery in the people they serve. So they start saying that Hualien has beautiful scenery, but you have to see mindfully to find it. And they find it's no longer so boring living and studying in Hualien. And that's why very often
I totally agree.
I share with people like that and hope that they will give Hualien a chance to really get to know the people there.
Yeah, totally agree. Mostly I joined the Taipei area foreign language team. So a lot of time we do translations, written or oral translation, and also I attend the bone marrow blood drive in different areas in Taipei. When we are doing translation, we also need to have the volunteer experience. So bone marrow blood drive is the regular event for the donors. We are not seeing just someone who gives a 10 milligram of blood samples. We're seeing the future lifesavers. There were 相见欢, when donor and marrow receivers, they get to meet each other, and it was so touching when we have to do oral translation for this kind of gatherings. It was one of the toughest, very difficult time for me. It's not because of the content, the dialogue, the conversation they have. It's because the atmosphere was so touching. Everyone was crying, including the translator. We have to very hard to hold out our tears and try to speak clearly about their conversation and what's going on the stage. And I have to say this is one another benefit for translator, because you have to understand what the lecturer, the speaker was talking about, then you interpret it. So you are the person who understands the lecture the most. I cannot imagine if I haven't encountered with Tzu Chi, I cannot imagine how my life would become. Yeah.
Yes, imagine you don't have all these friends from all different world, like special country in the world, because in Tzu Chi, any single international camp, very easily you meet volunteers from 30 countries.
Yeah, and I still have a lot of my best friends from different countries I've never been to. I've been to the United States, other European countries, and South Africa, South America. I've never been there, but my best friends were living there. It's really, really amazing affinities for all of us.
To be gathered together in this world called Tzu Chi, and then to share all these special touching moments in our life, even though we don't live in the same country, not in the same neighborhood.
No.
But we share something very unique, very special together.
Yeah, and we really are like a big family.
Please join us next time to continue our discussion on life economics. If you want to read this book we're talking about, you can find a copy of this book in any Jingsi bookstore and cafe. For more teaching from Dharma Master Cheng Yen, please tune in next time to our program. Goodbye and have a great day.
How many times when the night is still have my tears flow like a river? All those reasons and alibis. Once I dreamed I was a bright star high in the night sky. How many times when the pain hit hard did I hide the tears deep in my heart? All those long roads I traveled, all the byways, in the end I still want to give myself to you. Walking through wind and rain, deluded once again. I hear you over and over, telling me, don't show the world your silent tears. Wandering the earth and sky, I kept your words in mind. Never forgot to listen. If I only follow you, never be lost or lonely. With you my heart learns to care. After a lifetime of love, in the end I'll always take your hand. Though I don't see you night and day, still my heart depends on you. Wandering the earth and sky, I kept your words in mind. Never forgot always take